Have you ever seen those really beautiful, heavy bookends in an old library and thought, man, I'd love to have a set of those? Well, guess what? You can actually build them. Today, we're going to walk through the entire process for making your own gorgeous, super sturdy library bookends. And you'll see it's probably way easier than you think. I mean, just take a look at these. They're built to be seriously sturdy. We're talking strong enough for those big, oversized art books. Plus, they've got this classic, really sophisticated style that's going to look incredible on any shelf. And the absolute best part, this is totally a project you can do yourself. Okay, so before we even think about making sawdust, we've got to get our ducks in a row. This first part is all about the blueprint. The tools you'll need, the materials to get, and how much time to block out. Getting this right sets us up for success. So here's the tool rundown. A lot of this is standard workshop stuff, like a table saw for those nice straight cuts. But the real MVPs of this project are going to be the drill press, which lets us bore these perfect holes, and the router. That's our ticket to getting those smooth, professional-looking edges that really make the project pop. All right, let's talk about what you need to buy. The real beauty of these bookends comes from mixing these two hardwoods. We've got this great, sturdy white oak for the main body, and then this rich, dark walnut for that amazing accent piece. Everything else is pretty much standard stuff you might already have. Screws, glue, and whatever finish you want to use. So how long is this whole thing gonna take? You're looking at about 8 to 10 hours of work, all in. Seriously, it's the perfect weekend project. You can start on a Saturday morning and have a finished set by Sunday evening. Super satisfying. Okay, planning is done. Now it's time for the fun part. Let's make some sawdust. We're jumping into the actual construction now, where we'll turn those plain boards of wood into all the precision cut pieces we need for our bookends. I love this view because it takes all the mystery out of the project. When you see it exploded like this, you realize the bookends are just a sandwich of different layers. You've got the base, the vertical frames, that cool divider, that's it. Seeing it this way makes it seem a lot less complicated, right? Let's start from the ground up with part A, the bases. These two chunks of white oak are the literal foundation for each bookend. They give it a nice wide footprint so it won't tip over, but the real secret to strength, well, that's hidden inside. So you might be wondering, how do a couple of pieces of wood get heavy enough to hold back a whole shelf of books? The answer isn't just about the wood. There's a really clever trick hidden inside. And that secret trick is something called ballast. Now, if you've ever heard of ballast for ships, it's the exact same idea here. It's just a heavy material that you add to something to give it more weight and stability. It could be anything, really. Steel shot, lead fishing sinkers, or heck, even a handful of old screws and nails. And here's the genius part. Before you assemble the base, you drill out these big holes in the bottom piece. Then you just fill them up with your ballast. This puts a ton of weight right down at the bottom where you need it most. That's what gives these bookends that satisfying, hefty feel and all their strength. Okay, let's look at the upright parts. The main vertical structure is made from these oak frames, which are labeled here as part C. But look what's tucked right in between them. That's part D, a thin slice of that gorgeous dark walnut. That contrast right there, that's the whole aesthetic. So we've got all our pieces cut, drilled, and ready to go. Now it's time to put it all together. This last section is all about the assembly and those super important finishing touches that are going to take this from a pile of wood to a really beautiful piece of furniture. You don't need to be a master of joinery for this project. We're using simple, strong butt joints. It's exactly what it sounds like. One piece of wood just butts up against another. And to make sure they're not going anywhere, we're reinforcing them with a good dose of wood glue and some screws. That creates a rock-solid connection. These are the little details that really make a project look professional. We'll use a router to just slightly round over the outside edges. It gives them a softer, more finished feel. And on the inside of those cutouts, we'll add a little angled edge called a chamfer. It just creates a really nice shadow line. And to top it all off, a few coats of satin varnish will protect the wood and give it that beautiful, subtle sheen. I think this quote from the original plans just hits the nail on the head. It's that simple, elegant layer of walnut that completely transforms the look. It's a small detail, but it's what gives these bookends that custom, really high-end feel. And look at that. We've come full circle. We started with some raw lumber and a clever plan, and now we have a beautiful, totally functional set of bookends that you built with your own two hands. They are absolutely ready to take center stage in your library. You see, this project is more than just a way to hold up books. It's a fantastic way to learn some core woodworking skills. So now that you've got the blueprint, the only real question left is what amazing books are going to have the honor of being held up by them first?